But it would be shabab. Like, it would be so dope to own a Nissan Patrol. And it was actually plausible at that time because I'd saved a lot of money and I was like, you know what? This is the only stage in my life I'll be able to do something that's a little stupid. And I'm like, why not? You know, live your best life. So yeah, my name is Brandon Menon. I'm from India, from Bombay, but I've actually grown up in Dubai. So I basically came here when I was one with my mom. So I've lived my entire life in Dubai, my schooling, university, and now I also work over here. First car I've driven was actually my mom's car. It was a BMW 320. It's a nice, small, fun car. But yeah, and then, because of my friends and games and movies, really got into the whole car culture, and I'm quite influenced, I think, by the whole UAE car scene, and that kind of explains the whole reason why I went into the Nissan Patrol and stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much a brief summary of my journey so far, if I may. And then my mom got a Cruise, and then that kind of became the second car I drove for a bit, which was also a lot of fun, but yeah, quite basic. And then I think once I started working, I decided, okay, you know what, I need to get my own car. And then that eventually led to me then buying the Patrol. So yeah, that's quite an interesting story. So for me, actually, the car that I always wanted to get was a Mustang, actually, because I was super into muscle cars. And especially in like university, a couple of my friends had, so one of my friends had a Camaro, another friend had a Challenger. So it was always this thing where if I get a Mustang, we kind of complete the triangle and stuff. So yeah, I was pretty much into muscle cars the whole time. And then one of my friends bought a Suzuki Jimny. And that Jimny pretty much changed my life because that car is so awesome. Like, it's a tiny little beast, and so eventually he bought the Jimny because he wanted to go off-roading. He kind of wanted to explore the deserts and the whole like off-roading culture and all that kind of stuff. So that's what we kind of started doing. And that winter, I remember we went off-roading pretty much every weekend or maybe twice a week if possible. And that was really cool. Like, that experience in that little car, it would just be me and my friend sitting in the car, going into the closest sandpit we could find and kind of figuring it out ourselves, we didn't really join any club or go for any like training for off-roading or whatever. We just kind of winged it ourselves. And that really got me into the whole off-roading culture. And I think that's how I kind of decided that I want to buy a four-wheel drive. And for me, the options were always, I always wanted a two-door, because even with cars, I was more into coupes than any other style, because I felt like that's cooler. So with four-wheel drives as well, I was like, okay, that's the kind of look I want. And that kind of limits you in terms of the kind of options you have, right? Because you have the FJ Cruiser, you have the Wrangler, of course, you have the Jimny maybe, and also a Pajero, right? So then I told my dad, okay, cool, Dad, like I'm ready to buy a car now. I've saved up some money, I've been working for a while, and I want to have my own car, especially because, I'm living in Dubai, why not? And then he was like, cool, if you want to buy a car, it's cool, I support that. But it has to be your money. It's up to you. I'm not getting involved, and don't expect anything from my side. You have my blessings, but go do it. Okay, cool. So then one day, my dad, it was a Saturday morning, when I was like, come, let's go check out some cars. They have some deals. I think during Ramadan period, and we were like, okay, cool. So I knew I needed to get an off-roader, and I knew I wanted a two-door, right? And I was like, okay, Nissan Patrol for me has always been a really cool car, but it's never been a car that I ever imagined I would own. It was that unattainable like beast, it's what the locals drive, and you just sit and admire that. So yeah, not really on my list, to be honest. So cool. So we went. My dad was pushing towards the Wrangler because obviously for him that's like the most manliest off-roader you could buy. But something about, I think it's about growing up in Dubai maybe, that for me the Wrangler was always like, I don't know, dude. Especially when they put those angry eyes and stuff. Personally, for me, it's not something that appeals to me. But I always loved something that's almost like old school and just authentic, So anyways, the first car I did check out was a Pajero because it was well within my budget, and I knew that if I'm going to buy a car, I want to modify it. So I'm kind of looking at the modification and the parts available and trying to decide my car the other way around. So with the Pajero, I was like, you don't have too many options. I mean, you could modify it, and it's a very good car, but my heart was not there, It was like the logical thing, but I don't know. I was not emotionally connected to that car, I think. Then we went to Wrangler, and Wrangler perfectly ticks the box of all the possible aftermarket parts and stuff like that. But again, my heart was just not there. Went to the Nissan showroom, and the most interesting thing when you go to the Nissan showroom and you tell them you want to buy a Nissan Patrol, especially a Y61, they're like, oh, okay. They kind of like don't want to sell the car to you because they know if you want to buy it, you buy it, right? So the sales guy was like, oh yeah, Nissan Patrol. Yeah, I mean, it's a very cool car. The locals love it. not the best mileage, not the most comfortable car, but yeah, if you like it, you like it. And I was like, what? Because every other garage or every other showroom rather that you go to, the sales guy's like, oh, I have an offer for you, and this is this, and this is that, and mileage, and this. They're trying to like sell the car. But at Nissan, I was like, if you want it, you'll buy it. And that's exactly what I did, because I'd gone to pre-owned, and I saw this beautiful car. And I remember I was creating like a mood board at home, and I actually printed this car out from Jaseel. I printed the picture of the car and stuck it. I was like, I don't know, maybe one day. And I saw the car and I absolutely fell in love with it. He's like, do you want to test drive it? I was like, cool. So just within the lot, I took a small little circle and came in. So you're not really test driving the car, but I was like, I love this. This would be insane. So then, you go back home and you're trying to like see your pros and cons, So I'm like, okay, Nissan Patrol, not very fuel efficient, not like the most economical, not the most comfortable car, but it would be shabab. Like, it would be so dope to own a Nissan Patrol. And it was actually plausible at that time because I'd saved a lot of money, and I was like, you know what? This is the only stage in my life I'll be able to do something that's a little stupid. And I'm like, why not? Live your best life. And then then literally the next day we went back and they were like, hey, that car's still available. He was like, yeah, it is. Cool. That's my car. So how did I get into cars? I mean, honestly, I can't pinpoint the moment where I was like, cars are awesome. But I've just always really loved them, from the small little Hot Wheel toys to Fast and Furious movies to the little games. And I think what I always liked about cars is modifying them and kind of making them your own. So for me, a stock car is something that I don't think I'll ever be able to live with. You have to do something just to make it a little bit your own. And I kind of enjoyed that. I always appreciated like how cars look, the community, the people and stuff. But obviously when I was younger, I was not so much into that. Just loved my Hot Wheels basically. And then like I said, like, we got into this whole off-roading scene, and that kind of opened up a whole new spectrum of like meeting people and communities and stuff. And that's one of the reasons why I kind of started my little Man Plus Machine page as well. So initially it was just about clicking pictures of random cars, and then I kind of changed and I was like, okay, kind of make it more like about off-roading and about the off-road community and stuff. So initially it started off with just me and my friends going off-roading. So it was me, the Jimny, and another FJ Cruiser where we would just go every weekend. And that kind of started catching traction because we would post pictures on Instagram and have people message me going like, hey bro, like, can we join you guys? Can we go on a drive? One thing that was awesome, because I love meeting new people and talking to them. So that was a cool way to like connect with people. And then we started sort of like realizing, oh, we're kind of forming into something. So Man Plus Machine. So like I said, like initially when I started the page, it was actually about like just clicking pictures of cars, because I was clicking a lot of pictures of cars anyways. Even when I came to your garage, I'm like, ooh, wow, look, like this got some cool cars. I'm just going around clicking pictures. So I enjoyed doing that anyway. So I was like, okay, cool, I can post it on Instagram, and why not? And I was like, I don't know what to call it. So it was not about my car, because I didn't have a car at that point. It was just about cars. So then it was like, okay, it's about, for me, it was like, okay, what am I trying to like talk about? About this connection between a man and a machine. Because if you're not a car person, it's quite an odd thing if you think about it, Like, especially when you have to talk to people and they're like, why do you love your car, dude? It's like, what is that? You also love your laptop and your printer, and it's just a machine. Like, what are you doing? But I feel like there is something more to a car. Because again, I think for me, it's about those experiences that you get from it, the people you meet, the places you go to. It enables you to sort of explore and, discover yourself, and also the country you live in and different cultures. So for me, yeah, it was about that connection between man and machine, and that kind of brought that name together of Man Plus Machine. And then I wanted to just carry that over even to the car. So when I got the Patrol, I was like, okay, I want to have something that's focused a little bit more on the Patrol. But I was like, you know what, maybe tomorrow I might have 3 cars. So I want to keep the name a little like open-ended. So, Man Plus Machine rather than something focused on, be calling it like Y61 something. So yeah, then I stuck with that name. Car people are super chill, the easiest people to talk to. And I feel like there is a lot of like understanding in the community, because you're kind of all speaking the same language, If you talk to someone like at work, I'd always talk to my like colleague about cars, and she's just like, what are you saying, dude? You're just on about like suspension and exhaust. But when you have a car person, it's like, yes, tell me about your car and I'll tell you about my car. So yeah, I think the car community and the car people are awesome, because for sure, there is that like understanding, and you kind of speak the same language when it comes to cars. And another thing about owning cars is that you go through the same problems. So like I know, like especially with off-roading, man, like you have your car breaks down, you get stuck, and you have the car community, or at least the off-road gang, that they're the first people to come and help you out, without even asking. They won't be like, why were you doing that? They're like, no, let's help you. Let's make fun of you a little bit, click some pictures as you're stuck, but we will be there to help you out,